Inferno. They need to tighten that up because G2, I think they're going to come out swinging with aggression.
Yeah, and speaking of aggression, it's Amanek as well, my player to watch. Watch him with the SMGs. When he gets them in his hands, it doesn't matter if it's an MP9, a UMP, or the Amanek 10. The guy will slay, and TYLOO will pay. Let's get into it then, ladies and gentlemen. Another day in the office. G2 TYLOO to start it all off. Group D. And let's see if Kenny S wants to go aggressive. He looks like he's going to just jump across for info and see just one towards the far ends of second mid. TYLOO, however, are going to start walking up on this position.
So, HE grenades available on the CT side of a three-man stack here.
3 smokes, Henry.
3 smokes. It is getting more and more tactical out there on those pistol rounds. I have to say, we're seeing more and more utility. Most teams leaning away from the 5 sets of armor. I haven't seen that in about 3 months, to be honest with you. So for now, TYLOO do get the apartment's control. They're looking to execute towards A. They can smoke towards Moto and the pit or bomb side if they want to, or focus purely on the pit as they get ready to burst out of the apartment here. We'll see if it's their final commitment. Apparently not. They are going to be smoked off and feel safety in falling back as they still have 1 Molotov and a flashbang. They'll focus towards quad. And are they going to go back towards B here?
So
surely not.
Already.
I don't know where they're going to finish up. They're going forced through spawn. This is to be a straight-up duel at this point, or a brawl. And they'll have to check the atrium. Can they get the first frag? It looks like they will. Hunter will get one at least.
Not quite onto Freeman's toes. His bullets, however, do find the head. And they're just getting pushed in from every side. The bomb is in CT spawn, a very astute observation, picked up now thanks to Summer's frag, and they'll be pushing into the domain of Amanek. He needs to win this duel, and he can't. TYLOO, they're looking poised to collect this pistol, albeit with some raised eyebrows from our analysts.
Yeah, it seems like they were struggling with the mid-round decisions again there, but it works out for them. Just choosing to go towards CT spawn should be absolutely fine, but it is Jax left in the 1 versus 3. He's got that first kill. Diffuse kit available, but remember, with all that utility purchase, he has no armor here. First frag in this 1 versus 2 is successful. Might even go for the full defuse here. The bomb's in the open. He's got the diffuse kit. Does he have the minerals to go for that tap? Time will tell. Has no information as to where the last player is. Does go for the full commitment, but it will be checked and taken down by Summer there. Nice work by him. 3 kills in total, and it was the B split coming through that works out for TYLOO.
So that smoke by Jax towards end of halls, as the T's actually had thrown their limp smoke out from the same position, was enough to make them cancel. And the reason that Henry and I were so confused as to what was going on was because that's the way TYLOO looked. It was indecisive, right? You had individuals who had made a call, and maybe 1 or 2 of them were on the same page, but the better part of the team, they felt like they were relatively disjointed. However, if we can't tell what they're doing with all the information offered up to us in the world, how do you feel G2 must think right there?
Touche. Yeah, they're going to have been asking similar questions as us. As, do they know where they're going? Well, it certainly worked out. The individual duels is never a question with TYLOO. We have never once questioned whether the individuals can keep it on hang with the very best. They certainly can put the crosshair on the head and click, and there's no doubt, and very effective at that. Hunter too. Him alongside Amanek will deal with the early banana presence. They got a flash of the bomb, but choose to back up and seize this early advantage that they've stolen from TYLOO.
The Inferno forced by in the second round. CT side is getting iconic at this point of how powerful and difficult to deal with it can be. The smoke's still available on the CT side here, and as you can see, Nexa just spots one, drops a smoke, just trying to hold them off now. Working very effectively, got his teammate boosted up there above him. That's going to be Amanek. He's still got a smoke as well there, boys. So he's got a chance to wait up to that 30-second mark there. The magic time, and if he drops another smoke, then we're in a fantastic position.
And this is also a premium example of why often on that second round, you will see players go for maybe 1 SMG and some util. They're stuck with 3 flashbangs.
So this is the power of the smoke grenades. That's why Chad's enjoying himself here, just knowing that they're walking around trying to find anything on the map, but as soon as they do, another smoke comes down. That's the 30-second one. The magic time to throw the smoke. They have to go through it now. And if they get the first kill, they might be okay. Doesn't look great, though, especially with that frag coming through. 3 versus 1 now. Bomb should be planted as they spot the cross. Nexa won't be able to deny the plant, but still, it's up to Summon out. 1 versus 3 has to be aggro. Goes to the first, nails it. Is he going to go down? And he will. So G2 pick up the second round force by the smoke uses there, Chad. You've got to say that was world class.
Yeah, I've felt that before, and it's so uncomfortable, right? Because you're already at the number disadvantage. You know that you just have to pack roll, and as you're trying to make the best calculated decision you can with the information available on the map, a new piece comes into that puzzle and you have to change your decision making all over again as the hourglass of time slowly ticks away and you can just see the round falling away. At a certain point, maybe you have to consider a save, but TYLOO, they went for it. And, well, Summer did his best, getting the bomb down, getting a couple of kills there, not too bad. It gives them enough money just where they can take a save right here. Next round, they will be able to invest fully, and we'll see everything get back underway. But based off the Inferno that we have seen from TYLOO so far, we know that they have those set pieces, right? They were doing those late pounces onto
They definitely
B.
do. We know they've got the strategies in the book. It's just knowing when to deploy them is the main issue.
Yeah, and here's their problem. G2 are very transitional on their CT side, right? You'll see them constantly moving. They'll give up top mid on a full gun round, but then halfway through that round, they will just start to retake mid wall through the quad side. You see Hunter and Kenny S, they'll just start patrolling, and they do it as a team. They stay very, very active.
We didn't necessarily see that when OG were playing against
not at
TYLOO.
all.
They were quite passive, right? They didn't really have that dynamic sense to them. So yeah, you're right there. Good observation. We'll see whether TYLOO can make a dent here in round number 3. And actually having a bit of a nightmare. Hunter, hungry for blood towards the arch side, and he mows them down. No problem at all. Ace picked up, 6 HP remaining, and the AK-47 stays firmly within his grasp. Jax will have one as well. UMP for Amanek as their money starts to rack up. But as you mentioned, Alex, he is a bit of an SMG specialist. You and I have been enjoying his antics since the Berlin Major.
Yeah, my goodness, a joy to watch. And he does have a proficiency for it. I remember actually asking, it was Amanek and Boomich who have recently been on my radar as players who feels like have started to specialize in the SMG. Flusher, of course, has been their mainstay for a long time.
Yeah, Flush is definitely the
and look at him
OG.
go. Does get run boosted for an extra fast, extra crispy nade. No one's there to receive. But I was speaking of him, just the fact that I spoke to Boomich. I said, how are you doing this with the MP9? He says he's been practicing in regular pug matches, not necessarily against the pros. He just wants to get some practice in. Freeman up short fast. Does get caught now by Jax, a preemptive smoke, so we can peek around it, and good chip damage onto Freeman. Unconfirmed for now, and he goes down.
Yeah.
The site is theirs.
A little bit odd there from Kenny S. He was flashed, but didn't seem to know how to navigate himself back towards the bomb site. Moves towards the hay bales. I assume he was trying to get towards the pit there, but it was certainly a window to survive the initial encounter. Either way, it's going to be TYLOO with the round pretty much under wraps here. 2 versus 4 with Nexa on the AK-47. That's not going to cause financial damage by the looks of things. They've got plenty of money themselves, so they can afford to be a little bit inquisitive with the exit approach here. You can see Amanek there with a UMP towards the apartments. But as we mentioned yesterday, most teams will turtle up towards the pit. Attacker doesn't have that luxury, down to 19 HP. Freeman, he might be able to survive depending on the bomb plant position.
Amanek has a molly. He might want to throw that incendiary out towards pit, but instead he's just going to be heading out. Not interested in making anyone pay. You can see how effective it could have been. Look at the health left on somebody, 27. Only one saving in that corner, though. They opted for the CT spawn.
All right, so this is how simple that was. Focus on Zeta. It's just a 4-man mid-creep. The flash is going to come out into Kenny's position. And as Henry said, he looked very clunky. So we can play this out. Look, he's been slowed, and they just chase him down. He can't actually get away.
Why does he go to the right there? Because he knows he's got to get towards the bomb site, but he started going towards hay bales for a second. I think maybe he was thinking maybe the pit would be a safer point of avenue. But overall, definitely could have got to the site, in my opinion. But it will be a TYLOO round regardless as we get into another buy situation. There's no... Oh, there is for Kenny S, actually. So there it is. We'll see whether he can step up here. We talked about that dynamic approach they have. Currently finds himself in the apartments here. Just trying to move himself around each and every round. And Summer could be in trouble here. Still a difficult shot. The T's swinging wide on this do get an advantage. Especially if they're holding a tight angle like this. They can come in and actually spam you through the wall. And you take a lot of damage.
Speaking, taking a lot of damage.
That was the skybox nades there from First Oranges. You can bounce those over the top of the roof. And if you time it well, you can see the results. Very effective.
So some of the problems that G2 might have to deal with is that top banana smoke. It means that they can't go for the full banana play. And that was something we saw in the OG and FaZe series. TYLOO like to drop the half-wall smoke of their own to get banana control. And they just wait out your Molotovs, right? We know CTs love to throw those early Molotovs, so...
Interesting. So Kenny S's decision-making is going to be tested here. He chose to rotate all the way to B after being spotted in apps, but now there's a lot of util being thrown towards the A players. 2 currently set to defend, and I'm intrigued as to whether or not he's going to be given any cues as to return to that site. In fact, no. Look at this. They're going to be leaving Amanek solo alongside Nexa for now, rotating Kenny back in towards long. 30 seconds. TYLOO are going to be committing off this, and Kenny falling back does find a new line for Zeta and another for Freeman.
That's a bit of Kenny S for you. Towards the yard side, close range, precise as you like as well, as we'll see him fall back towards B. TYLOO on the back foot once again. 10 seconds remaining. Looks like they're out of time, out of luck as round 5 falls apart. They have to fall back here. Hold on to the AK-47s. This round ends with 2 AWP kills. And that was towards the arch side. Amanek can justify just exploring as to where they're positioned.
Oh,
there will be
after
a
the
kill
time.
just after. Summer gets no cash going forward, or somebody, I should say, as he goes down to 650. There we go. So Summer will also get no money. And at this point, TYLOO, they might want to take a timeout, discuss their options with the 2 saved AKs.
Yeah, look, I'm just trying to count out the amount of utility TYLOO uses just to get map control, right? So towards Banana, they drop that smoke. That's pretty good, right? They're not using... Oh, okay. Hunter just got knifed leaving spawn. You never love to see it. And then to get top mid, they're using a smoke, 2 Molotovs, and a bunch of flashes. So not using a whole lot to get map control, but they didn't have a lot left then to execute with.
Well, even less now. Some other player without the economy will be down to the CZ. They still have 4 AK-47s. So remember, this is the pick of TYLOO. This is where they wanted to be, but it's not exactly a wild card pick. Inferno, usually the decider in a best of 3, opens things up here between G2 and TYLOO. And, well, speaking of open things up, there's Hunter finding the bomb towards middle. A perfect headshot towards Zeta. Bomb goes down, Incendio to follow up. He can fall back to a defensive line, job done.
Freeman to test the apartment's position. He's had some brawls, close quarters, now a more passive line being taken. They've got the crossfire established in sight. You do have Hunter staring down with the pit support of Jax.
Hunter now 4-0 in opening duels.
Oof.
It's definitely going to be an A play here by TYLOO. You can just see how forward they are. Somebody's making sure nobody can aggress for information. And we haven't seen that transitional play, but Kenny still has a bit of information top mid. He's going to be the early warning signal here for his 2 site defenders. And that Molotov is perfectly timed. It pushed Freeman away. He can't actually line up his smoke here.
He wants to do the moto smoke from here, so he will get it down eventually. But still, this is the kind of comfort strategy when things go wrong for TYLOO. They jump this in and hope for the best, and Summer will at least find some access towards the bomb site, but not for long. Trying to focus towards that apartment position time and time again. It seems like G2 very comfortable to hold it off, and the opening pick towards middle, finding the bomb certainly helped out as well.
TYLOO found a lot of their rounds yesterday against OG with those B pops that we were talking about. We got a tidbit on screen for you. G2 Esports, they have the 4th best utility damage per round on Inferno in the last 3 months, 44.7 damage per round.
Part of the game I feel like is just underappreciated still to this day. We're talking about it more, but we're not representing it enough, I feel like, on websites or talking about it in articles or even on the broadcast. I feel like it's such a massive part of the game now. We need to focus on it a bit more, I would say.
Kenny hasn't fired a shot yet. Got a boatload of information onto the T's position. Saw 2 cross back towards the second mid side of T spawn.
I think Henry raises a very good point in the way that we look at the details, not just utility, but the details of the game now, right? Like, we are considering every peak that individuals are making to a lot of points, right?
Things like utility damage and effective flashbangs, they are worth their weight in gold. Like, that can be the difference maker between a top player making a kill and missing it by a couple of pixels because of the utility usage, right? I feel like the players aren't really celebrated enough for providing the theory side of the game.
I remember when it was mind-blowing that the Astralis guys were averaging 50 util around, util damage around on Inferno. Now the 5th highest or 4th highest was 40.
Yeah.
Like that's a good example of how much it's increased.
Yeah, it's becoming a mainstay of CSGO. It never really was in 1.6 and Source. We talked about it, like in terms of these guys got great nades, etc. But we never had Molotovs or anything like that.
Yeah.
So in terms of HEs, we're just like, well, we know a good couple of grenades to maybe get a kill here and there. But now it really is part of doing initial damage, fending teams off, making them feel uncomfortable before they execute, reclaiming territory. It's such a massive part of the game. I feel like it needs to be tracked a little bit more.
Yeah, it was very baseline in the beginning, right?
Yes.
It was more smokes and Molotov used to deny territory or used on executes to push them out of angles you didn't want to fight. Now, you're actually able to isolate players based off tendencies and almost take them out of a game just with utility usage. Kenny doesn't need any utility, though. AWP up close and personal. The combat AWP in Summer's face. And, well, that's left the other 4 members of TYLOO over into Banana with... How many nades they got here?
Not
5?
many. And they're taking damage as well. So...
Oh!
That's a touchdown. It's gone so wrong for TYLOO. They're going to be limping into the B site. A bit of miscommunication on the smokes there, I suppose. But overall, it will be G2 looking very comfortable as we look to close things off. They have to walk through with this flashbang. Let's hope for the best.
Yeah,
Is effective.
great flash. Amanek will go down, but it's going to be supported by Nexa, who's found himself another. They're so softened up, weakened, cut down to size by the initial utility damage. Just as we talk about it, just as it's the topic of discussion as well, we watched TYLOO's chances of admittedly a hindered assault towards B, but we still see it fall flat thanks to some great nade damage. Kenny's caught another one, this time onto somebody. Zeta trying to play on the smoke. He's only going to get one. It was a valiant attempt to catch them off guard, but both of them grouped up.
Well, it's down to these opening picks. We know TYLOO have the strategies, Alex. We know they've got those executions, but they are losing the first kill almost every single round. Hunter are now up to 5 and 0 at opening duels. Kenny S at 2 and 1. So these guys are just finding that opening kill, falling back, and there's no punish to it. There's no response. TYLOO needs to start changing the pace of the game. Their defaults aren't working. In the last 3 months on Inferno, TYLOO have the lowest 4v5% win. That's exactly what we're talking about. They're losing this opening pick every round, and you can see it reflected on the scoreboard and the way they finish up and limp into these bomb sites unless they have all the resources, 5 players up, and a tactic in mind, which they've replicated from a European team. And alternatively, G2 have the best 4v5 win percent ratio on Inferno in the last 3 months. So that is a great disparity, a nice little tidbit for you as to why G2 are doing such a great job right now. Not necessarily due to that stat. Obviously, they're finding the opening picks right now, but a team that doesn't seem to crumble when they lose their first player.
I mean, it paints the picture that even if TYLOO do what they've been struggling to do, they still are playing against a 40% G2 win rate on a disadvantage.
Just for context, in this game, they've lost the opening duel once so far. That was due to Freeman. So every other round has been an opening G2 pick.
That's a very good, something to keep an eye on as we develop into the first half of our first series today.
And the only player with 2+ kills in the round is going to be Summer so far for TYLOO. So no one multi-fragging, no one really stepping up as of yet. We'll see if we can start finding these TYLOO players, because a couple of kills around across the team really isn't going to do it.
Well, we saw a bunch of A executes come out of them yesterday. Didn't give them as much success as their B set plays, but right now Banana is being dealt with very easily. That was the same smoke that came out on Pistol. Jax countered in the exact same way, and that was what caused them to go mid to B. There's another opening for Kenny.
He's racking them up now, boys. Jax looks like he's in a prime position to absolutely destroy this one. What was that from Freeman?
We saw this, though, from TYLOO, right, where they have the idea in their mind is, hey, let's get mid control and nade the bike player, right? We saw that, and it didn't work for them against OG. It didn't work for them against FaZe, and it hasn't worked for them here against G2.
It would take, 5 to 6 seconds for me to say, hey, guys, when we know they're on like a partial buy, don't go mid.
Yeah.
That would be it. I guess that's anti-stratting at its lightest degree.
Because what we've just discovered right there is one of the bailout strategies for TYLOO is to default into that move. Yeah. That's one of their moves to get an opening pick or to get a kill at all, right? And if exactly like you said, if you're aware that they do that on the lower buy situations, you position yourself differently according to that. And also over towards B, the fight that's been going on, maybe we'll have a few more opportunities with Skybox if somebody decides to keep going for similar plays. But he's dropping the smoke at the half wall, and the way that G2 are dealing with him is they know that it's unlikely he's going to push that smoke. They'll have one individual spam, they'll have one anti-flash, and then when their smoke clears, they're double nading over the top to soften him up at the barrels position. So they have every step of somebody's banana corral under wraps.
Yeah. Well then, 7-2, TYLOO will bring out the AWP. It's Zeta. He's the one who's gone down to the start of pretty much every round so far. He's 0-5 in the opening duels. So that's just the context. Kenny S has gone 3-1, and the AWP for TYLOO is 0-5. It just goes to show that things are starting going down right down to the fundamentals of the game itself. To smoke off to normally dissuade Kenny S from this sort of position, but you can see him handling it by just falling back to a more defensive line. So they've got the mid control. They're good at getting this, and Banana control too. It's finishing up the rounds if they lose a player. If something goes awry within this kind of protocol, and they lose a player or goes down to a 4-4, that's when things just don't look as promising.
When something is thrown into their assault before the go comes in.
And that's the fact they can't convert from a 4 versus 5 just goes to back up everything we said going into this game. They know how to deliver the strategies. It's just when and what to do when things go wrong.
Bit of a problem for them here, though, because TYLOO actually played off of mid wall after they had taken it. It's once Kenny had cleared it, they thought that top mid was clear. However, TYLOO are kind of just sitting in wait in the mouth of middle at this point. And with 30 seconds left, I think they might actually reinitiate back towards the A bomb site, which has forced G2 to stack 3 players all the way in the site. Check this out. They're all committed. Their rotation time is as long as it could possibly be right now.
And so the pressure is on Jax. supported by Hunter. They've done well before. He will be tested by Balcony, but his attention is going to be focused primarily on short. He's right to do so, and Zeta surely not going to be the first to go down. Not this time. Summer with the necessary double, and that should be TYLOO's round. A retake with 2 players gone already.
Yeah.
Somebody pushed up here. It's just not happening.
When they have all 5 players alive and they can drop their strategy, you can see it works out very nicely for them. Summer delivers on all fronts. They barely take any damage there. They did a good job of baiting out the utility on the G2 side. When it all comes together and they aren't challenged, that's when it absolutely works. And G2 need to be aware of that as well. That TYLOO are trying to play this execute style-based Counter-Strike. As we'll see, the exit frags come in now. Lots of money on the G2 side, and these are valuable kills for Amanek. The money just isn't there for TYLOO. They had to be a little bit safer with this one. It looked like they were hunting themselves almost, as somebody will make his way towards top of middle. Every kill counts at this point. They need to keep these 2 weapons alive, especially the AWP still fighting. Somebody will make it work though and take down the penultimate player on the G2 side as they get their 3rd round on the board here. Finally, things starting to wake up, and that's their 2nd opening duel victory. This time it was for Summer. So they actually managed to convert that round, Alex. So it makes sense. They get the opening kill, it actually all works out for them, and you see the execution. They got the mid control, 5 players alive, and that's when they can do their best work.
Could have gone a whole lot worse for them if we didn't see that. Chad, I see you've got your thing up.
Yeah, so as the smoke clears, you can see Hunter moved across into trash, and Kenny's about to re-pick mid as the smoke is dissipating. Now look, Zeta and Freeman are still top middle, but they're hidden. So Kenny clearing this is why they rotated 3 individuals over towards that B stack. You can see him hightailing it out of there.
Well, back into the action then. AWP still for Kenny. Looking very strong in the last few months. See whether he can keep this up though. Holding towards the arch side. He has been smoked off a few times now. Watching towards Boiler. No opening duels as of yet. Bit of speculative fire from Hunter towards the apartments. I've seen a few kills there with the Orc. I think Elige has found a couple through there. And the wooden board next to it as well.
I'm curious if we see G2 go more aggressive in the mid round here. Oh, definitely the late round if TYLOO want to play
That's the way
slow.
forward, if you ask me. Just like get it, obtaining control of middle or banana. Just to, even if it goes down to a 4-on-4, knowing those stats, TYLOO can't handle it. If you let them have full control and give them a bit too much respect, that's a problem. We're starting to see that now. A bit more active play towards the banana area. You can see G2 at least locking them out of the half-full position, making sure they're not set up for a full execution on this side of the map. And they are going to start falling back towards B here, Chad. They've got smokes available to them, so this will be a full B execution. And in terms of the CT setup, they have next over the incendiary. Amanek with the smoke. With 35 seconds here, should, being the operative word, be no way in.
Yeah, that smoke's going to arrive in about 3, 2, 1. Info. Ahead of it is somebody. He's going in fast. Now on towards the pool. This is an important duel.
They're next to each other.
Next is going to get him. He's peppering them through the smoke. They've got 19 seconds and they can't commit. This is awkward. Zeta onto 1. He needs a 2nd immediately. And now the flank from Summer. He's not hitting the shots. TYLOO, they've had so many chances, but they're squandered. Now the clock is their nemesis. They will lose this round by virtue of the clock.
So this is why you need players like Flusher on your team. If you have a player like Flusher who can actually be a nuisance towards Banana and start smoking things, flashing them, going in with the MAC-10, the Galil, and baiting out the smokes at the start of the round, that means you can avoid this sort of protocol where G2 just holding on to their smoke to the very end. They've kind of worked TYLOO out here. They're holding on to the smoke till 30-second mark, and they haven't had any pressure towards B whatsoever. Why would they give that smoke up? And that's why someone like Flusher, for example, is perfect on a team, just to make sure that they're feeling uncomfortable towards B. You need to constantly apply that pressure and not let them feel comfortable. They can just hold on to everything until 30 seconds. Otherwise, you'll run into a brick wall like that.
Well, I think 3 SMGs is a good way for TYLOO to pick up the pace a bit to get that early pressure and draw out some of that utility that's been causing them so much grief over towards Banana Take late. Let's see what you got in store for us in round 12. Jack's actively fighting in apartments. There is actually going to be a Freeman having a wander in there, but it doesn't look like he's going to be too active in investigation just yet. First smoke deployed by the CT side. Still 3 more where that came from.
This is going to be an earlier set piece by the looks of things.
Yeah, real fast. And see the taps from Jax doing well to inflict good damage. A smoke to make things awkward as he repositions. I love it from Jax. And now playing around the 2 smokes that bloom, he has got and managed to send TYLOO straight to their doom. Round 9 looks confirmed as Hacker catching a stray bullet through the smoke from Jax as he continues to contribute. Despite the absence of vision, Hunter, no need for him to find another because that's the bomb loose. Kenny's shot will be the final nail in round 12.
Absolutely will, Alex. Clean sweep. No damage inflicted.
Tidy.
That's what you love to see. Jax thinking on his feet. I know you're a big Jax fan, Chad.
Yeah, I am. I think in terms of his mechanical ability for an older player. Now, when I say that, you might think, what is he, 35
no,
or
he's
something?
26, right?
But yeah, exactly. But for a player who has been playing Counter-Strike for some time and now is only really in the last, 2 years, being thrown into the Tier 1 Counter-Strike world, I think mechanically, he's a very, very skilled individual. His biggest fallback, I think, is just his lack of English, which is getting better and better every day.
Well, we get to speak to him. He's a very friendly chap. We get to speak to him most events.
He's a very happy lad, isn't he?
He always comes up to us and tries to show us that he's been working on it, and it actually has. I remember a year ago or so, it was very difficult to communicate with him.
Right?
Yeah, New York, exactly, Alex. So it was at the after party. I mean, it's like he was trying his best. You could see he was obviously struggling with it. Now, seeing him, I think it was Katowice. We hung out with him a couple of times there. You could see it's like 80% better.
It's
than what
conversational
we saw.
now.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. So I'm sure it's becoming less of an issue every single day. Another convincing victory for G2 here. We only saw the one kill for TYLOO as they crumble at the seams. We're going to see Kenny S just nearly every single shot. Hunter still 5-0 in those duels, by the way. Kenny S still 3-1. Zeta still 0-5 for the AWPA. We know it's more difficult on the T side. This is the round he needs to step up, though. They're taking a partial.
This is so ballsy.
And will he get the opening frag finally and give them an advantage? He's going for it, boys, and he's nailed it. That's his first, and he will go down.
He stole that one straight from Ricky and Yam's playbook.
That's a good point. Yam, that's a name I haven't heard for a while. He was known for those sort of plays.
Straight down middle. Balls to the wall, through the flame. He does get the opening pick, but with only an AWP to play with, they're going to be playing hot potato with the big green. Holding the line, Kenny could not be in a better position to punish this mid-control that TYLOO have managed to create. Oh, and somebody would have to be the perfect 1D, likely traded as soon as the info comes in, and, well...
He thought about it.
He was aware of it. Summers frag, and through the smoke they go. Amanek smart to push the smoke, and now he backs up. What a nuisance it must be to play against him.
Yeah, he is a real thorn in your side. He continues to apply that pressure, just dropping the flashbangs, the HEs, peppering you down with bullets as well. Double digits on the map pick of TYLOO for G2 as we get into round 14. Not really much to say about the TYLOO approach so far. In terms of rounds they've picked up, they won the pistol, if you can remember that far back. And at that point, everything's really gone quite terribly wrong for them. They've had one decent A execution where they had all 5 players alive, and one round that they got the opening pick, but 10-3 not really going to cut it.
I think they managed 5 rounds against both OG and FaZe.
They got them at the end of the half as well.
Yeah.
The last 2 rounds at the very 14th and 15th round.
So if they're able to do that again here, then we know that their CT side, they can slowly start to build on back into these games.
They have no absence of winning pistols. TYLOO have been winning the majority of their pistols. I don't know if Ben, who is listening, can dig into TYLOO's pistol stats here season 11, but I would hazard a guess that they're incredibly high.
That Dust 2 one yesterday, though, keep that one out of the stat sheet. We don't want to see anything like that ever again.
The matchmaking round.
That was ridiculous.
It was crazy. Only 2, Zeta and somebody gonna give it a good go. Good shot from Kenny, and that should be 11. Zeta not really got anything left other than the bomb and his heart beating. It will be Amanek to ensure that the latter does not continue. And so 11-3, we are waiting for that final round to come on in. This looks like a ridiculous runaway from the G2 boys. A reminder of what's to come as well, not only just 2, but in the series today, we have Mousesports versus FaZe waiting in the wings as our second of the day.
Should be a banger.
I've got high expectations of Counter-Strike banging.
Yeah, I just think if people aren't familiar with the storylines, obviously between FaZe and Mousesports,
the international clash.
You've got Carrigan used to be on FaZe Clan. He was kind of demoted from the in-game leadership role while still being on the team with Nico, Rain, and Olaf there. There's a lot. There's a lot to really dig into later, so stick around.
And digging into my my eye test versus the reality of the situation.
Okay.
I got the stat in my ear. 33% pistol win rate from TYLOO. So not great, but it did. We did see in their series yesterday. They found themselves, I think it was 3 or 4 in the best of 3.
Winning the pistols doesn't seem to be doing too much for them, though. Like,
no.
they have won the pistol here, and it doesn't seem to really be adding a massive amount to the scoreboard. This could have been a quick 13-2 if they weren't careful, but either way, we will see the final round of the first half come forth, and Kenny S.
Imagine
waiting towards
having
boiler.
a Molotov and a flash left at a minute.
They make these sort of rounds work. When they don't focus so much on the execution, we see the skill come through and they just have to take some duels. That's when it actually looks a bit better. They just have to just group up together instead of focusing on, right, we've seen Astralis do this execution, let's run that. They just start biffing around the map, and this is what worked for them before. This nice B split coming through. 2 players isolated next there towards Emo, and we've got Amanek and new boxes. Nice tight angle with the Org as well. Gonna find himself. A nice opening kill as the Kree, beg your pardon, as it goes down to a 3-on-3. A good chance, but maybe one that won't be realized.
Yeah, running out of chances with Hunter's flank. Summer going down early. Puts that bomb in limbo. Just somebody now as a great frag from Nexa. Okay.
Remember that one, somebody?
He certainly will. He's going to help us remember this because with 19 seconds, he has to find another headshot. He does. And he's making a beeline for A.
He's got no time.
I don't know if he's going to make it.
What are you doing, bro?
He's having a good go. 9, 8. It's what, 3.5?
You silly goose.
4.
What are you trying to do?
3 and a...
It was down to 1 second, Chad, to be fair to him.
Yeah,
but
but
I do agree with you.
But he didn't have time.
No, I know. He definitely didn't. But the fact it was down to 1 second, I guess he knew he was low. 1 bullet would take him down. He ran towards B. There might have been a chance he made it, I guess.
Oh, time for a break. Let's do that.
Your destiny, slay your enemy, raise a legacy. No more apologies, trust your abilities, gather the energies. Pull yourself back together, been staying off track forever. Child of the nation, will seek redemption, time for salvation. Today is meant to be day of victory, time for history. Reverse the tendency, fight the entropy, channel your rivalry. You're praying for fortune to come, you're hearing the sound of the drums. It's too late to backtrack, go pack your bag now, keep your feet on the ground and stand up. You've got what it takes to fight back. Don't stop until you black out, out. Stand up, you've got what it takes to fight back. Don't stop until you back out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle. Stand up, you've got what it takes to fight back. Don't stop until you back out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle. Go save your team, be a hero. Take home the cup, be a star. They waiting for you, take aim, shoot your arrow. It's your time to shine, show them who you are. Stronger, gotta go faster, gotta get better, gotta work harder. It's fight or flight now, get out now. Go with the move, go for the goal, lead up the stadium, you know how it's done. Stand up, you've got what it takes to fight back. Don't stop until you back out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle. Stand up, you've got what it takes to fight back. Don't stop until you back out. Give all you got, show them how to make a miracle.
So TYLOO, they've come into this one with a similar game plan. Go into Inferno and try and best some of the very best in the world. We saw the stat during that first half. They have yet to win a map. out of 8 attempts versus Europe's finest so far.
I remember the days, Chad, where TYLOO would turn up to an event and you'd be like, yeah, they're going to take a map off MIBR. They're going to turn up and make someone look silly
might
here.
take a map off of MIBR.
I know. Well, yeah, fair enough. But you know what I mean? When MIBR are at their peak, TYLOO would turn up. No one would know what to expect. They'd come to the minors looking dangerous. They'd actually have a solid team. I'm just not seeing that right now. I can see they've got some ideas of what they want to do, but this, after so many years of this TYLOO project with the same names being recycled, I'm just getting a bit underwhelmed and bored by it.
Normally we see them within the best of 1 realms, right? So the close games seem like they actually mean something, whereas now in a best of 3, 2 close games doesn't mean anything. You need a map.
Pistols mean a lot to TYLOO, though, and they're winning plenty of those. Both of them in the bag, that looks to this point.
Yep, happening again. They're very clean, very aggressive down middle. We've talked a lot about this recently, about the CT pistol round charging down middle. A lot of teams are doing it, and the reasoning for it, after having it explained to me multiple times, means I can reiterate it myself. By pushing down middle aggressive early, it stops the T's being able to set up their utility and do an all-out execute with a guaranteed numbers advantage. And so the CTs can go, invest into armor as opposed to smokes to hold them at bay and push down to start those fights early.
Exactly that. And you've got the range advantage of the USP as well. Those opening swings from the T's, if they do take it towards underpass or towards the bottom of middle, you're going to have the advantage to take them down more often than not, especially with 4 players at the bench.
Unless, of course, that G2 member has a P250. Yeah. Advantage was there for Jax, but he lost his head.
It's not a safe pistol round by any stretch when you're desperate for one and they need a bit of momentum behind your play. To set the tone at the half like that is a good way of just conditioning the other side of things. We might be pushing down here a lot this game.
Yeah.
Especially on these sort of rounds as well. Like Chad will tell you, back in the day, CSGO used to be rushing down middle with the MP9s, the UMPs, just getting stuck in, just to show them we're not scared. We're going to be rushing down and showing a lack of respect.
And here's a great example, actually, of rushing and seeing somebody doing what somebody will do a whole lot if he gets the freedom to do so. Somebody, CT Banana, tends to hold a lot of pushes, Chad.
Yeah, and look, he is an aggressive style player. He loves to get stuck in, and look, I enjoy watching that type of Counter-Strike. It can be exciting, but look at this. The constant jiggle from G2, just trying to bait out and make these fights as awkward as possible. They will be dealt with eventually, but you can see what they're trying to do, right? Bait out nades, bait out shots, see if they can find a frag. Nothing will land for them this time round, and TYLOO are going to get themselves up to 5. We will see the guns come out on the back of G2. You know, when we used to have to do the aggro mid and banana stuff, it was because you had to deal with Tech 9.
That's
so
a good
instead of
point,
having to hold the site with a Famus and a UMP against 5 Tech 9s,
I remember them bouncing into the site.
It was so scary, man.
The Tech 9 used to be a run and a gun
bullets.
death trap. You could actually be running a full velocity and just be tapping away and find one perfect one-tap headshots at range. Like, it was insane. And that's if you didn't experience that version of CSGO, it's probably for the best. Like, no one really enjoyed themselves out there.
I'm sad that time overlapped with the cobble time.
Ooh, next to this did get a P250 Dinker range, but it is responded by the HE down towards the bottom. I feel like someone's going down here.
He's in trouble.
But he does respond accordingly. Nice work. Gets the bomb as well.
Yeah, great reaction from Attacker. If he goes down, that's a very different looking round, but now they can just post up. 2 of them there. Good nade damage onto Summer, but this is only with pistols. Good damage, but Attacker, he has this persistence with those body shots, unlike many. Very effective, good reaction speed as well.
I'm surprised we didn't see G2 buy there. I guess knowing they have such a big lead, they don't have to rush this situation. Normally,
we have been begging for that for the last 3 or 4 years, Chad. So we can't be too mad when it finally comes through.
It's just curious with such a lead and their aggressive nature that they haven't. It shows that they're treating TYLOO with the utmost respect.
This is more a reflection of Malik's influence, I would say, more than G2's. Like if Shox was still in the team right now, they would have bought. They would have been running around with Deagles and probably still Tech 9s.
I still remember the Shoxy call to. I can't remember the game. Unfortunately, but when it looked like that G2 were going to close it out, and then they proceeded to buy like half buy, like
because you can't remember because it happened about 20,000 times, so it's difficult to pinpoint which moment it went down. You're just like, well, G2 have definitely got this game in the bag. Oh wait, they
chose to buy like
over
SMGs.
and over again.
They didn't full buy. Do you remember?
It was on Inferno. They would buy. They bought 5 MP9s in their second round CT side on Inferno. They did that like every time we saw them out, and it didn't work once the entire tournament. I think that was at the Berlin Major. And we were just like, I just don't get it. No other team is doing this for good reason because it just doesn't work against Deagles and Armor. It just doesn't seem to be connecting.
Firm belief in the SMG, which does pack a punch, there's no doubt. Like, seeing some smokes thrown out towards B. Very easy frag for somebody to collect. No issues there. Next, just swinging out wide.
Yeah, that's a play that TYLOO have been doing for some time now. It's that smoke-Molotov combo we've been talking about a lot for the banana retake. But the way that the smoke and Molotov lands, if you are in front of the half-wall position, you will be flushed out into the open. So it's a nice little alley-oop, as Mr. Greer likes to call those type of plays.
It's fun to say.
Yeah, it is fun to say.
Alley-oop.
It sounds cool. What's your favorite word to say, Alex?
I feel
What
like
have you
alley-oop
got?
is like an alien word. You
Yeah,
know,
I
that's
know.
why I imagine alien languages that sound like.
Alley-oop?
Alley-oop. That's like how they say hello. Alley-oop, bling blong. I don't know why they're children's cartoons, but not closer to reality. But
I like that version.
yeah, maybe that is reality. Who knows?
Yeah.
Charging into A, looking positive. 2 smokes deployed to ensure they can focus their attention towards the site, and Jax does just that. Not only his attention, but his bullets as well. Catches Freeman, 8. If he stops his plant, hang on. Oh, okay. Chances squandered. But had he just found a little of a line, it was a safe plant from Amanek, thankfully.
Well, they got the opening pick this time, TYLOO. This one they won't convert, unfortunately. G2 with a nice, pretty basic approach there towards the arch
What
side.
is Summer
Smoke down
doing?
towards the arch and library,
Ninja.
respectively. And we have got Summer looking for something.
Hold up a
He hasn't
second.
got a kit.
And they can live in the pit. So maybe he just wants to take away their guns?
Their money is okay going forward if he survives. His is a $50. His alone
He's
is
going
not.
to go for the frag.
Go on,
He
go
go for
on,
the
Summer.
dossier.
Dunk 'em all, dunk 'em all.
Oh!
Oh.
Yeah, it didn't work out. They'll save the double orbs here. But a good round for G2 considering they lost that first pick. Next, it goes down early. At that stage, though, mid-control. And Chad, what have you got for
We're going to
us?
swing into why Nexa went down early. Here he is right here for you. You're going to see the standard nades getting thrown out from this position, which we have been noting time and time again for the top banana retake. So that smoke comes over. The reaction is the smoke and the Molotov. Now, Nexa has to swing as this Molotov lands. Look, it is going to cover all of this area. So he would have to push out anyway. He tried to just get ahead of that reaction and was unable to do so because somebody was waiting with the AWP. So that's how the opening pick went down.
Thank you so much, Chad. That kind of insight really does help us understand what sometimes look like silly deaths. Of course, it was forced. His hand was forced by TYLOO's utility usage. Thank you, Chad Nee Burchill.
I'm trying to do the players a solid.
You are. You're helping us out.
Oh! I want to see a double through the smoke. What's
Well-
the equivalent of that? Taking a blind shot through the smoke. There's no real.
What, like a sports equivalent?
Yeah, there's no sports equivalent.
It's
to
like
that.
scoring a goal
Half.
through someone's legs.
Yeah.
No, scoring from the halfway line.
Halfway
David
line?
Beckham.
Yeah, okay.
Over the top and the halfway line, over the keeper. He's
No
not
one sees it
expecting
coming.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, the keeper
bicycle
with the ball
kick from a
going over
corner?
your
Yeah,
head
he's,
and you're
he's running backwards.
and yeah, I can picture that.
Beckham did that like in the late 90s. It was a really iconic moment.
We talk about Beckham. Our generation's going to talk about
Yeah.
Beckham like the generation before us talked about who? Like Cantona?
yeah,
Cantona, yeah, that's a good
Oh,
suggestion.
Cantona.
Is that-
Cantona.
same team as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, England, man, respect. One of my favorite teams.
I think he was talking about Manchester United.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
I'm not so big on the football. I know that in Australia we call it soccer.
Do you really?
Yeah.
After taking everything else?
Yeah. Well, we had to change. We changed Marmite.
Oh,
to
you've got
Vegemite.
AFL though. You've got Australian
And you've got those
football.
fake penguin bars as well. What are they called?
They're not fake penguin
They
bars.
are.
Well, they're called like pelicans.
You got the
They're called-
Wikipedia.
they're
It's
called-
legit stolen from penguin bars directly.
They're called Tim Tams.
Tim Tams, yeah.
And we're quite
He
proud.
came-
of
you
them.
guys are
We're quite-
proud of
we're
them.
Quite proud of our Tim
Yeah,
Tams.
he came to the UK and found penguin bars. He goes, you know what? I'll have a bit of that. And he took it back to Australia and made it somehow a cultural
And now I'm a
phenomenon.
multi-millionaire. So
Yeah.
10
Chad's
seconds, boys.
Penguin bars. Conversation for another time because Summer is holding G2 out of the B site. Was boosted up and disappears, and another round will be on the board for TYLOO. Amanek's got no time. Kenny isn't getting quite into the site. And actually, we're seeing a similar outcome to some of the G2 T-side rounds, just running straight out of the clock.
Yeah, that wasn't really ideal at all for them. You could see them doing that before managing the bomb down in 5 seconds. When it works out and the bomb gets planted at that time, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
But when you're going in like this and just a boosted player in CT Sport is enough to shut 2 of you down, you feel like that probably wasn't the best approach. You probably got caught with your pants down a little bit there, especially Kenny. Caught jumping up. He does get a couple of kills towards the end, but round will be going in favor of TYLOO, and it's the US Air Force tactical timeout, the first used by the French/Serbian lineup here. They are going to have a full buy going into the next round, and we have a Krieg available for Amanek or for Kenny S, and all the bits and pieces in between. Let's see what we can do as we get into TYLOO's difficult resurgence here on Inferno, their map pick. They need to start coming online in Pro League. They can't be the team that doesn't pick up a single map throughout. Currently 0-4 and getting beaten down by almost everyone. They've had a couple of close maps, to be fair. I would at least like to see them pick up a couple before the season closes out. This is a round-robin format. They'll play 5 best-of-3s. I'd say it's almost almost a guarantee they won't be making it to the next stage of the tournament.
Yeah.
It's considering what we've seen so far. I know it's not statistically impossible, but from what I've seen, I don't think they'll be making it.
No, and that's totally fair enough. I don't think anyone's going to argue.
Some more damning stats here. Second lowest
Just
trade
kick them while we're
percentage
down.
on the CT side on
What else do you need to
Inferno.
go to his production? Like, what other crap stats have you got for Tyler? Send them in.
But this is why I like having Ben there, because he's digging through HLTV.org like
No, it's
I am.
respect.
And
These are really
peeling
good.
it
I'm
all
joking.
apart. So basically, things are tough for TYLOO. I do believe right now we're in a bit of an extended technical timeout. So
Okay.
we might be able to go back into that podcast mode that we were, because this game so far, look, I don't want to be the guy to say it, but I'm going to have to be. G2 are going to close this game out eventually.
That's what you. That's your big
Wow,
hot take.
he said it, guys.
he didn't
There
want
he
to say
is.
it.
I didn't want to
said
say
We
it.
forced his hand. He had to say it.
Whoa.
And there it is on the internet forever.
He can't
G2
believe he's gone and done that.
I'm known for making outlandish statements here.
Whoa.
I thought something absolutely insane was about to be. I was worried. I got a bit anxious when he said that. But
we're
when it's
gonna
just
get
like
shut
you
down.
felt like G2 might win this convincing lead they've got. Okay, fair enough.
Well, what more the takeaway from that is TYLOO, they can seem threatening, right? It can seem
Of
like
course,
they're starting
yeah.
to mount some rounds.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
in
yeah.
my mind, and I'm sure in the minds of G2 right now as well, this bag is it's bag.
I
This
agree.
game is in the bag.
I agree with you for sure. The TYLOO, they picked this map, right? Of course, their CT side, they're going to look serviceable on the map. They're going to be able to win some rounds. They're going to be able to pull it together. They're going to be able to make things frustrating. They know how the map operates, and there's less technicalities on the CT side than there are the T. Obviously, you're just operating on a bomb site. You're waiting for executions, and you're reading
They
the
come
game.
to you.
It comes to you. The signals are brought to you. On the other hand, you're the one that has to create them on the T side. That's why we see their T side lacking. We see them not converting 4 and 5s and not really having an understanding of the map. CT side will be fine. A double AWP setup as well, very viable. Zeta hasn't had the best performance so far. Currently checking in at a cheeky 13-11. It hasn't been the worst game by any stretch, but his teammates not really coming online in the forms of Freeman and somebody.
Slight caveat to Zeta's fragging as well is that he did get a full ace eco bash.
That's a good
which
point,
I think
yeah.
is going to really distort his impact.
I
so
feel like,
far.
yeah, that there should be a way. We should have 2 separate columns.
Oh,
like, against,
God,
if they
yeah.
have, like, no armor, that should just be counted
Could
as,
you
like,
imagine if we start referencing RWS? Well, actually, Zeta's
Yeah.
RWs
Yeah.
is significantly
it's
lower.
It's a good point, because it definitely does not reflect the actual performance.
So I like the idea of no armor. However, then you get into the sticky situation.
Yeah, I know.
A glass
Eagle
cannon.
Glass cannon.
arrows.
Here's the thing.
if they
right?
have it, like, if a robot can work out the things it's doing these days, I feel like it can work out at an AWP
Well,
glass
Yeah,
kind of situation.
we need to set all the parameters, right?
Yeah.
And I've had these discussions a million
We
times.
had them out 2 years ago. We were trying to work it out, right? We could
Yeah.
we couldn't come to an understanding or.
What, to tell the computer when it's a buy?
No, just,
No,
just for us to say when it's a half buy, when it's
Yeah.
an eco. Like it's like, oh yeah, but with the Tech 9 days, we're like, if you have a Tech 9 armor, it's an eco. It doesn't cost you that much, but it's still investing quite a lot. Does this count as an eco bash if it got Tech 9 armor?
The caveat of utility, and well, looks like utility wouldn't get the CTs particularly far, because into the site through pure grit and determination, G2 have managed to pick themselves up this round as we return to normalcy.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring up the skybox and
Yeah.
show the viewer at home how that quick jungle pop went down. I am roughly 90 seconds behind everybody, so we are going to get there real soon. So you can see this here, the smoke landing over towards Arch, and then the library smoke very quickly. Zeta cannot do anything, which means that Freeman and Attacker are on a bit of an island here, and they wrap through their own smokes with some well-timed flashes. Freeman completely blind, Attacker can't do anything from the balcony position, and that's where the opening kills come on through. They're just able to pinch them very simply like that, and that's the problem if teams do a 3-man banana setup, because when you are rotating that last man over, like we've seen here, if it is a quick A play, you're already locked out by those smokes. They're so scary to push on through.
So if you were, a team, a well-oiled machine team,
Yeah.
you could, if you had enough cues to know when there's 3 players fast B, like if it's 3 nades coming over the wall,
could react
you could
instantly.
instantly react if you could communicate effectively with your team. If
Precisely.
you're TYLOO and you've got Zeta who takes, an extra 2 seconds to process that information, suddenly that round wouldn't be quite as punishing.
Yeah, so you need to leave spawn knowing that that's a possibility,
Yes.
and then react accordingly off the information that you find out from Banana.
Alex, have you ever been a well-oiled machine?
Typically not really my go-to, but I have at times been well-oiled, yes.
I would like to see that one day. Maybe after a nice gym session.
Yeah,
as
let
well.
me finish like another
See
6
glistening.
months in the Grim.
Okay.
In the Grim.
In the Grim
Grim
gym.
gym.
That's the gym grind. The Grim. I'm in the gym grind. The
Okay,
Grim.
then we can see you all lubed up.
I'll
and
get all
shining.
lubed up and I'll put it on the social media for everyone.
Okay, 6 months from now.
Yeah.
So,
Put it in your calendar.
all right, we'll see you in September.
September, I'll get the baby oil out. Can't wait.
September 28th, I want to see it.
All right. I look forward to you reminding me of that, as I have a big gut and I'm down in a spiral pit of depression.
Alex,
Alex, so about that shirtless oil photo, not quite my preference.
So looking to close things out here for G2. The rounds where they get a bit of control and you can see them actually having time to execute, it's working quite convincing for them. I don't think TYLOO are very well at managing A splits. It seems like they fall apart quite quickly, especially when B presence is shown. But speaking of which, they actually have full banana control on the CT side here, allowing them to have 3 players towards B, but they are committing 2 to long rotations far away on the other side. Smoke down, and with 35 seconds, that's actually very viable. It means that you pretty much have to finish at A, and you can see them recognizing that and respecting it. Somebody will be going back towards the A side, but G2 going against the grain here. Now, this is traditionally what you shouldn't be doing, but we'll see whether it works out for them. It does. And sometimes you'll throw away the rule book and just get stuck in. And the rotation, remember, is going towards CD Spawn. He's there in the nick of time, steals a kill away, keeps around in their favor for at least a few moments while the bomb's not down.
Yeah, you might get another one here. Oh, okay. So that was Sophie's choice. He had to make a very difficult decision in a blink of an eye. Couldn't. And so instead, 15 on the board for G2. By throwing the rulebook out, I love the way you phrased that, because it did look like it was a disaster waiting to happen. A deep smoke down banana, and you've got 25 seconds left.
All by design. They wanted them to go towards A, and G2, we talk about mid-round calls, that's a perfect one for Nexa. He knows exactly what they're trying to do. This is probably the kind of call he would make at that stage on the CT side. He's like, well, they're expecting us to go towards A. We're going to go through this with a flash of numbers. If we just at least trade out, even if it's 2 for 1, we've got a decent chance of actually shutting this B bomb side down. So the fact they got the opening kill cleanly, that guaranteed it. Great call. With the round buffer they have as well, I don't mind that at all. So very well done.
It's always for the CT, right? Whether you stay committed bottom of banana because it's an easier place to get a G 1 or 2 kills, or do you have to drop back to the half wall where if somebody does take that angle, you automatically have to drop back to the B site. We can see here Jack's coming through the smoke, jumping, very lucky to make that one work there. Some are not getting one. That's very uncharacteristic.
Yeah, that's a good point. There is an element of luck there, and there always will be when you jump through the smokes. If you get the timing right, sure, it looks amazing. Had they gone down to a big 3-man spray down, I'd have said that's exactly why you don't do that. But that's why they're taking a gamble with 20 seconds left, being smoked out. They had to make a call, and it was the right one. So fair play. They've got themselves map points on TYLOO's pick. 15-7 with MP9s for masses, shotguns, and the AWP, and it looks like it might be in trouble here. Got to try and get the hell out. Smoke down, and they will retreat, and, well, somebody will not.
Oh, it's a nasty way for a map to end. An aggressive shotgun caught through the smoke and maybe not end. Summer gives it a good go with a FAMAS, but this will be TYLOO's last round on their map. G2 have seen that this one does not go the full 30. Freeman and Attacker to try and tip the scales, but they're separated, segregated, and running out of time.
Remember, TYLOO have won both pistols here on their map pick, and they've just lost 16-7. With Dust2 coming up next, one of the most convincing maps for G2 in their entire pool. This looks like another 2-0 for TYLOO. If we're being purely objective at this point and not trying to romanticize things.
The romance is dead, Henry, and well, so is this map, because Freeman, he try as he might, there's no time left.
Good
he has
answer.
the defuse kit. You can frag as many as you want, mate, but you're not going to have a chance. And he goes down to Jax. That's going to be that. Map number 1.